Good afternoon. My name is Roblin Meeks, and I am Macaulay's Chief Academic Officer. Don't you all look gorgeous? Thank you very much. With the permission of Dean Byrne, we will now begin the 2026 Macaulay Honors College Commencement Ceremony. I am so proud to welcome you today to this auspicious occasion, and we gather here in this beautiful space, unified in our joy and celebration of the outstanding achievements of the Macaulay Honors College graduating class of 2026. This year is particularly special in that it marks the 25th anniversary of Macaulay. What began as a bold vision to invest in the public education of exceptional, purpose-driven individuals has now become New York's public honors college and one of the finest honors colleges in the country, a true institution of consequence. And all of you graduating today again prove the power and necessity of this vision. You have devoted a significant and formative time in your life to the pursuit of this well-earned degree. You have grown and learned so much from us and with us. And today, dear students, is one last lesson from Macaulay, perhaps the most important one, which is that you must leave us. But as the great philosopher Stanley Cavell wrote, quote, "One earns one life in spending it, only so does one save it." In spending such a formative part of your life with us, you leave having earned the powerful life that lies ahead. To launch our ceremony today, I ask you to rise as the Macaulay Triplets a cappella group sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Please be seated. Thank you, triplets. Definitely more than 3 of you. It is now my honor and my pleasure to introduce Dr. Dara N. Byrne, Dean of Macaulay Honors College.
Friends, family, distinguished faculty, honored guests, and most importantly, the graduating class of William E. Macaulay Honors College. It is my great pleasure to stand before you today and welcome you to our 20th commencement. It's my pleasure, you can clap for that. It's also my pleasure to welcome to the dais some representatives from CUNY, Trustee Henry Berger, Vice Chancellor Ann Lopes, Vice Chancellor Todd Michael Galitz, Senior University Dean Melissa Kirk, from our founding family, Linda R. Macaulay, Dr. Elizabeth Macaulay, Ann R. Macaulay. From the Macaulay Foundation Board, our board chair, Ann Limberg, our vice chair, Michael Groman, our trustee, Antoine Pouget, CUNY Provost, Linda Essig from Baruch, Associate Provost Mary Ruth Szewski from City College, Provost Natalia Holtzman from College of Staten Island, Provost Allison Peace from John Jay, Associate Provost Karen Beck from Lehman College, Associate Provost Ahmad Sims from Queens College. Our commencement speakers, Uzra Zaya, Ethan Frisch from class of '08. Our student speaker and New York's inaugural youth ambassador in the mayor's office, Alina Nodrat. And our Macaulay directors, advisors, faculty, staff, and alumni. So family and friends, this graduating class is particularly meaningful to me because we arrived at Macaulay at the exact same moment. They began their first semester as college students. I began my first semester as dean. Neither of us knew exactly what the next 4 years would bring. So in the fall of 2022, life at Macaulay was being rebuilt. It was a very long, difficult walk out of the pandemic. Student organizations were regaining momentum, study abroad opportunities were reopening, internships, research experiences, performances, conferences, and long-held Macaulay traditions were returning with renewed energy. In fact, the city itself was starting a new chapter. Looking back, it's really quite breathtaking how your young people navigated that moment and how fully they embraced the opportunities that came with it. And let me tell you, embrace it they did. There are 434 extraordinary graduates sitting before us today. They graduate with an average GPA of 3.82. Friends and families, they completed an average of 137 credits. Now a bachelor's degree is 120. 42% of them majored in STEM disciplines. 76% completed internships or research experiences, and nearly half used the support of the Opportunities Fund to see the world, studying in 27 countries across the globe. Family and friends, they have won so many awards. I would keep you here till 8 o'clock if I had to read out every prestigious award that this class has won, from Goldwaters to Fulbrights to National Science Foundation Research Awards. And they have conducted research, launched organizations, published scholarship, mentored younger students, advocated for their communities, and pursued opportunities across New York City and around the world. Collectively, your young people graduate in the top 5% of the largest urban university in the country. And for perspective, about 50,000 students will earn a CUNY degree this year. Those accomplishments are remarkable, but what stands out most is that again and again, this class chose commitment over certainty. They accepted those research positions before knowing where they would lead. They applied for fellowships before knowing whether they would receive them. They boarded planes to countries they had never visited. They joined organizations that needed rebuilding. They stepped into leadership roles for new programs and pilots at Macaulay before they even knew the details. They invested themselves in possibilities long before the outcomes were clear. You know, one of the privileges that I have as dean is that I get to see Macaulay from a very unusual vantage point. I see Macaulay through the eyes of the faculty, the advisors, the staff on the campuses, and on the buildings. It's kind of like streaming content 24 hours a day across 120 or so different channels. And because of this, I really get to see students up close and from afar. I get to see students crossing boroughs before sunrise to get to class. I see them heading from laboratories to internships, from student government meetings to volunteer commitments, from research conferences to rehearsals and athletic competitions. I get to see what matters most to your young people and all the extraordinary ways they choose to spend their time. And when I think about the class of 2026, I don't think first about that incredible grade point average or those awards or the statistics. I think about where their curiosity took them over 4 years. I think about Catherine, whose commitment to environmental justice and community development led her to found Triage, a youth-led grassroots organization that, quite frankly, has more people in it than those who attend Macaulay. I think about Victoria, who, like Ziv, somehow found room for 3 majors, some minors, fellowships, and a lifelong commitment to the public good. I think about Allison, whose studies carried her from New York to Sciences Po in France and now to Bulgaria as a Fulbright. I think about Nia, whose Macaulay experience included a Watson Fellowship, work in journalism, social entrepreneurship, and public leadership. I think about Isabel continuing her studies in Taiwan through the Boren Scholarship, and Zuha taking her interest in politics and global studies from New York to Jordan as a Gilman Scholar. I think about students whose curiosity led them into science and discovery. Shreya transformed undergraduate biomedical engineering research into a career developing surgical robotics at Medtronic. Eric conducted research from Hunter to MIT and the Advanced Science Research Center, and now plans to pursue doctoral study in computational biology. Emilia, a Goldwater scholar, combined physics, mathematics, geology, NASA-funded research, and volcanology fieldwork before earning admission to a fully funded doctoral program at University of Oregon. I think about Daniel, who studied mathematics and computer science, spent a semester in Kyoto, and will return to BNP Paribas as a software engineer. I think about Samantha, whose internships at MasterCard and Morgan Stanley opened the door to a career in technology. And then there's Kobe and Chaim, who earned Phi Beta Kappa at Brooklyn this year for the breadth of their academic scholarship. I think about Nicholas, whose work spans machine learning, transportation systems, MIT research, and Columbia University. And Christian, wherever you're sitting, he might be the first Macaulay ever to be earning his undergraduate degree while already 1 year into a doctoral program in quantum computing and electrical engineering. But I also think about students preparing to become physicians, scientists, and healthcare leaders. Emily, Priscilla, Tasnia, Sadia, Tree, Janae, Kitty, Benjamin, Bahar, and Francis. Each of them pursued clinical experiences, public health initiatives, and service in ways that demonstrate both intellectual rigor and a deep compassion for others. Stephanie's journey carried her from Lehman to Vietnam and Barcelona in pursuit of a career in healthcare. And some of them, so many of them, are heading toward medical school, some to physician assistant programs, some to research careers, and some to advanced study. But every single one of them has already begun contributing to the future of healthcare. And I do think about the students who found ways to connect scholarship to public service. Alessandra will join the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. Vincent, after internships with courts, prosecutors, and public agencies, is heading toward a career in law. Hannah combined public health interests, medical experiences, and service opportunities that have prepared her for a future in epidemiology. And folks, if you attend a FIFA match next month, I hope you will think about Osman's work on the pedestrian footbridge at MetLife Stadium and the engineering skills he is bringing to the infrastructure projects that will help shape our city. And I do think about Matthew, who I had the pleasure of walking from the train to the United Palace with, who is a scholar at both BMCC and John Jay, who just today accepted a position at College of Staten Island. I think about students whose talent found expression through creativity and communication. David turned a passion for sports broadcasting into leadership roles at Hunter's radio station, CUNY TV, and eventually graduate study at Syracuse. Christine brought together communications, design, public relations, and arts advocacy. Ricky explored consulting, international education, and entrepreneurship from Florence to Geneva to San Francisco. And Selena helped build community across Macaulay while connecting artists and creatives across the country. And I think about students who dedicated themselves to strengthening the communities around them. Family and friends, we have Ashley that led student government on her campus. Kylie Nyla, who built civic engagement initiatives that brought people together across generations. Emmy, who transformed community service into action. Mujana became a powerful advocate for undocumented students. And Ileana helped strengthen inclusion across Macaulay while advancing research on reproductive justice. And you, Kyla, and your unwavering commitment to student leadership from Macaulay to Lehman to Van Cortlandt Park, and now to China as a Schwartzman Scholar. Ada led the Macaulay Business Club while pursuing a career in human resources and organizational leadership. Morgan, Alina, Sanvi, Asha, Lizzie, Yang Yang, Ian, Ivy, Mary, and Celine, who signed up as peer leaders or interns or first in a new cohort, and were just a few of the co-creators that helped breathe life into the new initiatives that the new dean was building at the college. And I think about Ayayo, who is heading to a nursing program at Yale. As I told her mother on the sidewalk a few hours ago, she would probably be surprised to know that what I think about most is not her destination, but where we started in September 22, when she came out of the lecture hall to talk to me. And that conversation helped me get over my new girl dean jitters. Like many people stepping into a new role in new spaces or in new cities, I was carrying my own uncertainties. Was I saying the right things? Would I make friends? Would I be welcomed? Encouragement at the right moment can give you the confidence you need to face the unknown. Family and friends, there are many unknowns ahead as your Macaulays take their next step beyond college. But I want you to know that the degrees they receive today represent something more than academic achievement. They reflect 4 years of learning how to navigate uncertainty, pursue opportunity, and thrive in environments where the path forward is not always clear. And the class of 2026 is entering every sector of society at a time when we need them the most. They are heading to countless graduate schools and doctoral programs, to medical schools and research labs, to classrooms, newsrooms, courtrooms, nonprofits, startups, government agencies, and global countries. And they will become physicians, engineers, educators, scientists, entrepreneurs, artists, journalists, public servants, and community leaders. And like Jenna, who begins her Graduate Center Fellowship in developmental psychology, many of them are moving on with tuition scholarships and stipends that will make the next degree as debt-free as their first at Macaulay. Now, friends and family, I could keep you here all night telling you 434 stories about your young people, but what I've done here represents only a small fraction of the journeys contained within this graduating class and of all that they will go on to become. You know, a few weeks ago, during the last Scholars Council meeting of the semester, Yassir pulled me aside to reflect on his experience at Macaulay. And he spoke about the support he received here and found himself asking a new question: what he would do for others after he graduates and after he becomes a physician. What responsibility came with the support he received throughout his education? How would he use the opportunities he had been given? And as I listened, I found myself thinking that he captured something essential about this class and every class before it. The question Yassir was asking himself in many ways is the same question Macaulay, and I'm sure Linda Macaulay, you can testify to this, that Macaulay has been asking for 25 years. How can talent, opportunity, and education be used in service of others? Class of 2026, you have certainly achieved remarkable things. But what has impressed me most is that so many of you understand achievement is not an endpoint. It is a beginning. You understand absolutely that opportunity carries responsibility, that education is valuable not only because of what it does for us, but because of what it allows us to do for others. And I have no doubt that you will use your Macaulay education to shape the future of New York and beyond. And as your dean, for like the next 2 hours, I could not be prouder of what you have accomplished, but I'm even more grateful for what you have contributed. You've helped us imagine what Macaulay's next 25 years might become. Future students will benefit from your leadership in ways they may never fully realize, and that is a remarkable legacy. 4 years ago, none of us knew exactly what this class would become, but today we do. We see it in your achievements, we see it in your character, we see it in the communities you have strengthened, and we see it in the futures that now lie before you. Congratulations, class of 2026. Thank you for helping to write this chapter in the history of Macaulay Honors College, and thank you for reminding all of us what becomes possible when talented people commit themselves fully to the opportunities before them. We are so proud of you. It's now my honor to welcome to the podium, from the CUNY Board of Trustees, Henry Berger.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Byrne. Good afternoon, distinguished faculty, guests, families, friends, and most importantly, the Macaulay Honors College graduating class of 2026. You are amazing, and you make me feel totally inadequate. I'd like to congratulate today's honorary degree recipients, who we will hear from shortly, the Macaulay family and foundation, to whom I say thank you, and Alina Nodrat, who's going to speak on behalf of the class. Congratulations, you're all wonderful. It is my distinct honor to stand before you today on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York. Today is a day to honor the years of work that brought you here. What you have accomplished is significant, and it is yours to own. Today is your day. This achievement also belongs in part to the families, friends, faculty, staff, mentors, and communities who helped make this day possible. No one reaches the commencement stage alone. To them I say thank you for your belief, your sacrifice, your steady presence. And class of 2026, stand up and turn around and say thank you to those who helped you reach today. Graduates, you have earned a priceless degree from the Macaulay Honors College, and you leave here prepared for the next chapter of your lives. Macaulay is a place built around promise, opportunity, and leadership. You've been part of a highly selective college that supports some of New York's most talented students, and you have used that opportunity to grow as scholars, leaders, and members of your community. Your achievement today reflects not only academic excellence, but also purpose, discipline, and commitment to using your education in service of something larger than yourselves. You're also stepping into a world that is complex, uncertain, precarious, and being reshaped in profound ways. But your education has prepared you not to retreat from the complexity, but to meet it. You have already been tested. You know something about pressure and deadlines and fatigue and competing obligations and the limits of easy answers. As you leave here today, use your education with intention, be curious, be principled, be rigorous, be generous with your talents, and be passionate. There will be challenges ahead. There will be moments when your confidence is tested, when your work feels heavier than expected, or when the path you planned changes. But there will also be moments of purpose, discovery, impact, and deep satisfaction. There will be people whose lives are changed because you did your work well. Don't let your education end today as you pursue your careers down whatever path your journey takes you. Use every day as a learning experience to expand your knowledge and your skills. The path may not be straight and will undoubtedly come with new challenges, but it also comes with unexpected opportunities. Explore these possibilities. As the great 20th century philosopher Yogi Berra said, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. Wander off the straight path, down some side roads. They may lead you to unusual adventures and amazing career opportunities. It may be the chance of a lifetime. Trust in your ability to rise to what comes next. Class of 2026, we believe in you, and we are excited to see the paths you will forge. You leave here with the knowledge, resilience, responsibility, and the power to contribute to the world around you in meaningful ways. We expect great things from all of you, and we will be rooting for your success. I have no doubt that each of you has the talent to change the world. After all, you are Macaulay graduates. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I wish you every success and happiness in the year ahead. Congratulations, Class of 2026.
Thank you, Trustee Berger, for your commitment to our students. And once again, Dean Byrne.
So the life of a college is measured not only by years, but by the values it chooses to celebrate. As Macaulay Honors College marks its 25th anniversary, we are proud to inaugurate a new tradition, the Dean's Medal of Macaulay Honors College. This distinction recognizes individuals whose leadership, intellectual and creative excellence, and commitment to the public good reflect the highest ideals of our institution and whose contributions have enriched the life of New York City. It is especially meaningful that this first presentation of the Dean's Medal takes place during our anniversary year because the inaugural recipients are inseparable from the story of how this institution came to be. Macaulay was born out of a simple but powerful idea that extraordinary talent exists in every borough of New York City and beyond, and that when talented students are given access to opportunity, mentorship, and exceptional education, they will use those gifts not only to advance their own lives, but also to strengthen the communities around them. And for 25 years, that idea has shaped this institution. And it began with a family who believed deeply in the power of education, in the promise of young people, and in the future of New York City. With Chancellor Emeritus Matthew Goldstein, the Macaulay family helped create the model of public honors education that has transformed thousands of lives and expanded opportunities for generations of students and their families. Before we present the inaugural Dean's Medal to the Macaulay family, I invite you to turn your attention to the screen for a video about the extraordinary legacy they helped create. The early years of Macaulay's history were shaped by a shared belief that all students deserved access to opportunity. The Macaulay family was an essential part of that founding group and has upheld those values today, 25 years later.
It started with the vision of a founders group, and the Macaulay family was right at the heart of that.
Long before Macaulay became the institution we know today, they saw the potential of investing in exceptional students and public higher education. The landmark $30 million gift transformed a bold idea into one of the nation's leading honor colleges and changed CUNY forever.
One of the things about this school was building the right model, because this was an experiment. We didn't know if it would work. And so we wanted to be able to give the brightest kids in New York City the best education possible.
Our family has really always worked as a team. And when I look at Macaulay, I see amazing faculty and staff that are so dedicated to the students. You have student leadership that are fostering change. Really creating that kind of core team helps to support everybody.
The family understood that when we invest in students, we invest in the future of our city.
Students win all types of remarkable scholarships and awards, from Truman Scholarships to Rhodes Scholarships to Salk Fellowships. It's kind of amazing because if we think about CUNY as a place, we are a place that hustles, that works hard. Macaulay students exemplify that. And so if you invest in a Macaulay student, you are investing in the future.
Their support has helped build everything we've been able to provide for students, and in turn, facilitated alumni successes.
We're so proud of the students. Bill was so proud. At graduation every year, when my husband was alive, he and Matthew shook hands with every student, and they loved doing it.
We have, as of today, over 8,000 alumni. It's astounding to think about their expansive achievements and impact on New York, and how it ties back to the values of such a small group of determined people.
Now, 25 years later, it's amazing to see some of those alumni coming back. Seeing all those hands that you shook all of those years ago, now coming back, being part of the team, being involved in Macaulay.
I think that it's very unusual to be able to do something transformational. And the fact that our family is part of this and is helping these students every day, we're really proud to be part of it.
It is my great honor to present the inaugural Dean's Medal of Macaulay Honors College to the late William E. Macaulay, Linda R. Macaulay, Dr. Elizabeth R. Macaulay, and Anne R. Macaulay. Please join me in welcoming Linda, Elizabeth, and Anne Macaulay to the podium as we confer this honor and invite them to share a few remarks.
Wow. It is wonderful to be here today. Today is a celebration of achievement, ambition, opportunity, and gratitude. What a remarkable group of graduates we are here to honor. Macaulay Honors College students are extraordinary. Oh, you probably know that. People have told you that before. They arrive understanding that education is not something to drift through. They come determined to make the most of every opportunity. They are focused, disciplined, intellectually curious, and deeply motivated to contribute. And year after year, they exceed even our highest expectations. Quite simply, we have some of the best and brightest students in New York City. Our family is honored to have been part of the Honors College since the beginning, and to support something truly transformational, and thank you so much for including us today. We really are deeply touched. As many of you know, my husband, William E. Macaulay, believed profoundly in the power of education to change lives. Bill grew up in the Bronx. His family did not have great wealth or privilege, and he was able to attend college because he received a free education. He often said that everything he truly needed to know about business he learned here, and he never forgot that opportunity. He understood that talent exists everywhere, in every borough, every neighborhood, in every family. But opportunity does not always arrive equally. Then Chancellor Matthew Goldstein had a bold idea to create a public honors college in New York City that would rival the finest institutions anywhere and open doors for students who might never have imagined those possibilities. It was a daring experiment, and it worked. Today, Macaulay Honors College has more than 8,000 alumni whose work reaches every part of society. They lead in medicine, science, education, business, public service, the arts, research, and countless other fields. When Matt approached Bill about supporting this new honors college, Bill immediately said yes, and our family did too. We believed in the mission because we understood that exceptional students sometimes simply need someone to open a door and help them imagine a larger future. One of the ideas Bill loved most was that excellence comes in many forms. He had a gift for business and entrepreneurship, but he also understood that some of the most important contributions in life are not measured by wealth. They're measured by impact, by improving lives, by expanding knowledge, by strengthening communities. This school demonstrates what happens when talent meets opportunity. Every student I have spoken with has a story about discovering a passion, about gaining confidence, about realizing they belonged in rooms they once thought were beyond their reach. And that is why we invested in this school 25 years ago, and why our family continues to support it today. Graduates, your next chapter begins. We celebrate your accomplishments, your discipline, your sacrifices, and your resilience. But your story is not only about personal success, it's also about responsibility. You have learned from faculty, mentors, classmates, families, and communities who believed in you, and now you will carry that forward. Then that is the true legacy of education. Not only what it does for one individual, but how it ripples through society. If Bill were alive today, he would absolutely be standing here on this stage, and knowing him, he would want to shake hands with every graduate. He'd ask you what you plan to do next, and he'd tell you how proud he was of you. And our family feels that pride today. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Your future is bright, and New York City and the world beyond it will be better because of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, Elizabeth, and Anne, for being here today. Your family's legacy can be measured in many ways, but perhaps the most meaningful measure of that legacy is sitting before you today. Members of the class of 2026, Macaulay faculty and staff in the audience and on the platform, would you please stand if you are able and join me in a round of applause to thank the Macaulay family for helping make this extraordinary institution and this moment possible. Thank you.
Today, we are pleased to award honorary doctorates to two outstanding individuals, Uzra Zaya and Ethan Frisch, who will also serve as our commencement speakers. This is a future Macaulay grad right there. Awarding degrees is a unique power and responsibility of institutions of higher learning, and honorary degrees are one of the most important ways that a college or university can recognize the achievements of those who have distinguished themselves in their contribution to society in ways that reflect the values of the institution granting this degree. As you no doubt know, a degree from Macaulay Honors College is recognized as a special achievement, one that represents extraordinary accomplishment, expansive potential, and a passionate commitment to the greater good. Ms. Zaya and Mr. Frisch join us today as fitting members of the Macaulay graduating class of 2026. So now I would like to invite Lev Sviridov, Director of Macaulay Honors College, no favorites, to introduce our first honorary degree recipient, Uzra Zaya.
Thank you, Roblin. Dean Byrne, distinguished guests, parents, most importantly, advisors. Let's give them a shout out as well. My fellow directors and the graduating class of 2026, congratulations. It is a great honor to present your commencement speaker, Ms. Uzra Zaya. For 13 years, I've had the distinct honor and privilege of serving as the director of the Macaulay Honors College at Hunter College. Every year at commencement, I have been moved by the pride, glory, and love of people gathered in our special city of New York in a place that was once a theater, then a place of worship, and now is a place to celebrate graduates like all of you. The ever-changing tides of people and purpose remind me of my favorite poem that my Seminar 3 students should know all too well. It's The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, that ends with these words: "Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." It was this poem by a Jewish immigrant that raised the funds to complete the building of a statue to celebrate the abolition of slavery in America. Sadly, Emma Lazarus never got to see the statue, just like many of us will never get to see the long-term results of our labor. The poem and the statue are examples of the very best of our national ambitions, hopes, and aspirations. To turn aspirations into outcomes, we need partnerships, coalitions, organizations, and talented people so that the tempest-tossed are not lost and are guided to a life of great mission and privilege. In building such partnerships, we induct into the CUNY Macaulay family Uzra Zaya, who, after a distinguished diplomatic career, Ms. Zaya currently serves as president and CEO of Human Rights First, an organization that paved the way for my mother and me to gain citizenship in America. Today, she continues to advance global efforts to defend democracy, counter authoritarianism, and safeguard fundamental freedoms. Her leadership builds on 3 decades of experience in international affairs, human rights advocacy, demonstrating an unwavering dedication to promoting security, dignity, and justice for communities around the world. With Ms. Zaya and all of you standing shoulder to shoulder, the lamp beside the golden door will not only remain lit, but will shine ever brighter. Dean Byrne, it is my highest privilege to present Ms. Zaya for the honor and as our speaker.
Will Dean Byrne and Uzra Zaya please join us?
I get to do the official part. With approval by the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, Macaulay Honors College awards Uzra Zaya the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa in recognition of her extraordinary career and commitment to the protection of vulnerable communities worldwide and to the advancement of human rights for all through diplomacy, peace building, and democracy. Her inspiring example, more crucial than ever, is resonant with Macaulay's mission to prepare purpose-driven, civically engaged, and ethical leaders to take on the grand challenges facing New York and the world. Oops.
Thank you, Dean Byrne, Director Sredoff, Provost Meeks, and distinguished faculty and family members for this extraordinary honor, and one that I never imagined was possible. And I'd like to think my late mother is looking down on us, beaming upon hearing the words, Dr. Zaya. And to the Macaulay Honors College class of 2026, congratulations on making your loved ones, mentors, peers, and city so proud this silver anniversary year. I had the honor of visiting you back in 2022 when many of you were beginning this journey, and your academic rise and your outsized impact beyond the classroom and campus have been unstoppable. You surmounted a global pandemic, Zoom classes through high school, a 27-year New York Knicks NBA Finals drought, and countless hours of study to make breakthroughs in research across disciplines and give back to this city in acts of service and scholarship that will transform lives for years to come. So let's hear it again for the class of 2026. Before we put them to work fixing all the problems we're handing off to them, and fingers crossed for the Knicks tomorrow night. Being here among you brings back memories of my own college graduation in the ancient pre-TikTok era. On that late, rainy May day in 1989, Chinese students demanding reform were building a goddess of democracy resembling Lady Liberty to be erected in Tiananmen Square. Nelson Mandela was in his 27th year of imprisonment, and the Soviet Union exercised an iron grip over its 15 republics in Eastern Europe. In addition to giving birth to Bart Simpson and Taylor Swift, 1989 proved to be a year of profound rupture, with tanks crushing Tiananmen protesters days after I graduated, coinciding with an electoral victory for Poland's Solidarity Union that hastened the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Iron Curtain within months. By 1990, Mandela was free. South African apartheid and the Soviet Union were on their last legs, and I began my diplomatic career in a new era that some called the end of history, a reference to a perceived triumph of Western liberalism over ideological foes. Of course, we know that it was anything but, with armed conflicts and forced displacement now at levels not seen since World War II, and 20-plus years of a global democratic recession that began just before many of you were born. I'd be the first to say that the 1989 hinge point in history pales in comparison with the tectonic shifts we're facing now, as technology transforms nearly every aspect of the human experience, including the very nature of scholarship and work itself. But every rupture presents opportunities, particularly to break away from an unjust status quo. And young people have an essential role to play, as I've seen in Gen Z-driven movements from Bangladesh to Kenya, and having taken part in 1980s anti-apartheid campus protests that helped sway U.S. policy belatedly. Little did I know, when I was sitting where you are now, that a few years later, I would be consulting Tiananmen student exiles to inform U.S. human rights policy towards China as a young diplomat, and later lead that effort under President Obama. Little did I know, as a 20-something human rights officer under President al-Assad's Syria, that Syrian youth tearing down posters of his son 13 years later would light the flame that eventually brought down 50 years plus of dictatorship. So with the benefit of hindsight, I'd like to share 3 lessons from 3+ decades of navigating disruption and working to drive global impact, where learning from setbacks is as important as successes. Number 1, democracy is neither linear, inevitable, nor perfect, but it needs your active engagement to prevail. Regardless of whether you're pursuing STEM, business, arts, the law, or public policy, and no matter your background, zip code, immigration status, faith or lack thereof, your voice and active participation in our democracy matter and are in fact essential. This isn't just about voting, though it's a good place to start. Less than half of all eligible voters between the ages of 18 and 24 voted in the last US presidential election. By way of comparison, 75% of voters 65 and older voted in 2024, which might help explain why septuagenarians cleaned up in both major parties over the last 3 elections. Of course, who's running can make all the difference. Young New Yorkers propelled Mir Mamdani to his historic election victory. With a turnout for their age group more than 3 times what it was in 2013. It's crucial that young people turn out similarly for upcoming state, local, and federal elections, where those running will help determine the future of our brave experiment in democracy. Because as we've seen firsthand in the United States, democracy doesn't stop at the ballot box, and we are no exception to the global democratic recession. Steep U.S. democratic decline since 2025 is rooted in interconnected factors that I've witnessed in every region of the world. Consolidation of government power for personal and political gain, linked to weakened checks and balances, and tied to erosion of core freedoms and the rule of law, alongside vilifying the vulnerable. But because this is a familiar playbook, we know how to push back, and organizations like mine, Human Rights First, are doing our part. Leaning into decades of legal rigor, we've successfully defended nonprofits, lawyers, and students targeted for First Amendment protected activity, including a student here in New York facing detention and deportation simply for attending a protest in support of Palestinian and student rights. We're working with veterans and NGO allies across the country to defend dissent on college campuses and to secure state-level protections after the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in successive rulings. And I believe this class of 2026 has a special role to play in renewing our democracy as well. We know injustice has been ever present in American history, and that City University has been a leader in combating it since inception. As Macaulay graduates, your leadership can help American democracy form a more perfect union and challenge inequity, starting right here in New York. It's only fitting that the university that incubated the cure for polio should take on the seemingly impossible. And I've seen that audacity in this class, from cancer and public policy research that uncovered disproportionate impact on underserved populations, to urban planning to confront housing affordability. You have taken on daunting problems and sought cutting-edge solutions. In those and everyday smaller acts, voting, writing your elected representatives, volunteering to better your community, subscribing to support independent journalism, peaceful protest, you can arrest democratic backsliding in its tracks. This brings me to the second constant for navigating this disrupted world: welcoming the stranger and embracing our shared humanity. This city, the world's most linguistically diverse metropolis, has been a beacon and a safe harbor for those seeking safety or opportunity for centuries. This includes my own extended family, who arrived in New York from Hungary, Ukraine, and Poland by ship, and from India through JFK, roughly 60 years apart. Waves of new arrivals made incalculable contributions to this city and our nation's growth, culture, and prosperity, and for many with the help of a CUNY degree. Fast forwarding to today, our very identity as a nation of immigrants is under threat as an escalating federal crackdown sweeps up the highest numbers of civilians detained in our country since the unjust internment of Japanese Americans in World War II. But once again, we have the tools and the know-how to push back. Courageous Minnesotans, preceded by grassroots activists in Los Angeles, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Newark, New York, and beyond stepped up in support of targeted communities and the rule of law. Human Rights First joined them at the front lines, suing the U.S. administration for denying due process to thousands forcibly sent to third countries where they have no ties and face arbitrary detention and abuse. We proudly lead a pro bono network of thousands of lawyers who over decades have won protection for tens of thousands of courageous refugee clients who endured the unthinkable. And as we know, one of them is on stage today, Dr. Lev Sridov. His courageous journalist mother took the agonizing decision to flee threats in Russia, only to be thrust into the uncertainty of undocumented status in New York City with her young son. After Human Rights First helped them gain asylum, Lev, as you know, achieved academic brilliance at City College, Oxford, and Macaulay, and continues to pay it forward for new generations of refugees as vice chair of our board. We welcome your help turning the anti-immigrant tide by building a bigger tent that transcends faith, politics, or borough. And in doing so, let's recognize and celebrate our differences and reject all forms of hatred that dehumanize others and are all too prevalent today. This brings me to my final piece of advice navigating a turbulent present. Hit the road. And I don't mean seek refugee status in Canada. This is about getting out of your comfort zone to be a stranger elsewhere in the world, as so many of your students did at Macaulay, or even right here in the USA, beyond the I-95 corridor. My first time abroad, studying in Egypt in my late teens, was a formative experience that set me on the path that brought me here today. I was welcomed like a long-lost relative by families ready to break their last piece of bread with a foreigner who spoke the Arabic equivalent of Old English, and alternately was pressed to answer for the misdeeds of a president I didn't vote for or represent. In doing so, I learned what it meant to me to be an American, that I belong here, and that what separates us as Americans or from other nations pales from what we have in common, whether it's love for our families, a home-cooked meal, a good joke, or Bob Marley then, or better yet today, Bad Bunny. Almost 4 decades later, having worked to advance human rights in 70-plus countries, I'm trying to reinforce those common threads that unite us around a simple idea. All humans are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Those opening words for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights came out of a process kicked off here in New York 80 years ago this month in the aftermath of global conflict. And I have every confidence that you, the class of 2026, can make that vision real, not just with respect to civil and political freedoms, but also economic and social rights, a living wage, affordable housing, universal health care, that represent an unjust status quo long overdue for rupture and repair. So go forth, class of 2026, with confidence, boldness, my allyship, and the wind at your backs. Congrats.
Thank you, Dr. Zaya, and also go Knicks. I now invite Macaulay Foundation Board Chair Ann Limburg to introduce our next honorary degree recipient, Ethan Frisch.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much, Roblin. It is truly my honor to introduce this year's recipient of the Macaulay Honors College Honorary Doctorate, Ethan Frisch. A few weeks ago, I had the chance to sit down with Ethan and I came away thinking about a question that has always fascinated me. What really shapes a person? And what drives each of us to become who we are? Is it where we grow up? Is it our family? Is it the people we meet along the way? Or the opportunities that we're given? Is it the setbacks that we endure? Or sometimes is it the risks that we're willing to take? Well, I can tell you that when you look at Ethan's life, you realize that he's been shaped by all of those things. But what stands out is his willingness to keep saying yes to new ideas and new places and new challenges and new possibilities. Time and again, when life presented him with an unexpected turn or a setback or an uncertain path forward, he leaned in rather than pulling back. And because of that, he has lived a life far broader and more consequential than most people could fit into several lifetimes. Most of us have one or two defining chapters in our lives. Ethan has at least 10. And when you hear from him in a few moments, you'll understand exactly what I mean. While most of us follow a relatively linear path, and that's okay, Ethan's path looks very different. It looks more like 5 remarkable lives somehow stitched all together into one. And it is really extraordinary. But it also makes introducing him today a little bit of a challenge. I mean, which Ethan do you introduce? Do you introduce the conflict studies scholar or the Michelin restaurant cook? Do you introduce the humanitarian aid worker in Afghanistan or Jordan or Sierra Leone? What about the activist ice cream entrepreneur who names his flavors after revolutions? Or is he the CEO who built a global spice company and social enterprise out of his small Queens apartment in Jackson Heights? What strikes me is that none of those versions of Ethan ever seem to disappear, and they all still show up. The cook, the scholar, the humanitarian, the entrepreneur, the activist, and they show up in how he thinks and how he leads, how he approaches challenges, and how he sees the world. And perhaps that's why he brings such a unique perspective to every single thing that he does, one that is both remarkably broad, but also deeply human. And beyond all of that, there is Ethan himself. He is thoughtful, authentic, so warm and funny, and he is remarkably grounded. Ethan speaks with such humility while fully owning his success. And he's a big thinker and a change maker, not because he's impressed by titles or accomplishments, but because he's genuinely interested in what's possible. He embraces change without fear. He sees possibilities where others see obstacles, and he moves forward with purpose and conviction. And his conviction is strong. When he believes something is right, he doesn't hesitate to stand up for it, regardless of how difficult the challenge is or how formidable the opposition is. He will stand up. And perhaps that's what's impressed me the most. He doesn't simply talk about values, he actually lives them. You know, throughout our conversation, it was also very clear to me how deeply he loves and appreciates Macaulay and City College and CUNY, and just how deeply he loves and appreciates New York City, this beautiful city that he and all of us call home. He speaks so fondly about the opportunities that they've provided him, the doors that they've opened, and also the responsibility that he feels to create opportunity for others in return. To me, Ethan represents the very best of Macaulay. Curious, courageous, entrepreneurial, purpose-driven, but most of all, determined to leave things better than he found them. And as we honor him today, I think we should take a moment to recognize what Macaulay and CUNY has helped to make possible for him and others. We often talk about shaping future leaders. We talk about the leaders our students will become. We talk about the leaders all of you will become. Well, Ethan is living proof of that promise. He is one of ours, and we couldn't be prouder of him. And I will close by saying, while his accomplishments are certainly already extraordinary, I have a feeling that the best of Ethan is still yet to come. Please join me in recognizing Macaulay Honors College alumnus, entrepreneur, humanitarian, and recipient of the Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters degree, Ethan Frisch.
Yes, please. And Dean Byrne, please join as well.
With the approval of the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, Macaulay Honors College awards Ethan Frisch the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa in recognition of his notable achievements in humanitarian service and socially responsible entrepreneurship, along with his passion for learning and learning from service to make a global impact. As Macaulay's first alum to receive an honorary degree from the college, Mr. Frisch provides an inspiring illustration of the transformative power of a Macaulay education and how our purpose-driven graduates can bring their talents, passions, and education into the world in service of the public good.
Thank you very much. Next time my 4-year-old, as he was this morning, is refusing to take off his pajamas and put on his clothes, I'm going to call Anne and have her explain to him why he should listen to my instructions to get dressed in the morning. Just set this up. As everybody said, I'm very proud to be a Macaulay graduate, a CUNY graduate, City College, CUNY BA. Any CUNY BA students? Yeah, nice. It was controversial, to be honest, when I was both a CUNY BA and a Macaulay graduate, 2008. It was controversial. We had to, convince people. 18 years has been a long journey, and I've tried to sort of synthesize it to share some core lessons with all of you. I don't know what I have to offer exactly, but I'm going to try. I'm going to do 3 things today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and how I got here, I guess, to this stage. I'm going to give you a few pieces of advice, take them for what they're worth, and I'm going to tell you a funny story, again, about my toddlers at the end to sort of wrap it up. So bear with me. I graduated from City College, Macaulay, and CUNY BA in 2008. I went to Stuyvesant High School 2004. Any Sty students? I did a year of Bronx Science. Does that help? Maybe not. All right, there we go. Okay. I think, like many of you, really had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was graduating into, I didn't realize it at the time, but graduating into a financial crisis. I lost my job in 2008. I've been laid off probably 6 times over the course of my career. Restaurants that have closed, startups that have collapsed, foundations in that case that lost their endowment. But I have had some common themes. I've always loved to cook. I learned to cook from my father, who's back there in the audience. And I wanted to find ways to put that to use, not just as a creative or, I don't know, gotta cook dinner kind of thing, but also as a way to use food to reach people, to say something about the world. I forgot, I wanted to mention my grandmother. I'm a New York City public school graduate, kindergarten to college. I went to PS 75 on the Upper West Side. So it's especially meaningful for me to be receiving this degree from CUNY, from the public education institution. But I also wanted to mention my grandmother, Lee Parker, Hunter College class of 1948. Yeah, pretty amazing. So I wound up, after a layoff, I wound up working in a restaurant kitchen. I had always loved to cook. I read the Anthony Bourdain book, which even then was a big deal, and wound up in a restaurant kitchen. I had no idea what I was doing. I had never cooked professionally before. I didn't go to culinary school. I mean, I got a free education from Macaulay. I wasn't going to pay for a culinary degree. So I wound up in a kitchen and just kind of got my ass kicked a little bit and learned how to operate. I learned to make ice cream and started an activist ice cream cart called Gorilla Ice Cream. This was the summer of 2010. How old were you guys, like 4 or something? So, you know, a big summer for street food in New York City. It was a social enterprise, an activist enterprise we called it, as we call Burlap and Barrel today. We donated all the profits to the Street Vendor Project and served flavors inspired by revolutions and political movements, trying to get people to think a little bit more about what was happening in the rest of the world and how those issues might affect them. It didn't really work, to be honest. People just wanted to eat ice cream. You're selling ice cream. You don't have vanilla. Okay, that was the end of the conversation for them. We were doing these conceptual flavors. I had been working in high-end restaurant kitchens. We had a blowtorch on the cart, bruleeing bananas to order. It was a whole thing. And I left that experience to go to grad school to become an aid worker. I wound up working in Afghanistan, where I lived for more than 2 years, working for an organization called the Aga Khan Foundation. I spent some time with Doctors Without Borders in Jordan, doing logistics for a maternity hospital on the Syrian-Jordanian border. Not me personally, but we as a unit were delivering more than 25 babies a week to Syrian refugee families in northern Jordan. These were all, it's easy to look back or for you to listen to these stories and see how there's a natural flow. It seems like the narrative goes naturally from one step to the next, but let me tell you clearly, that was not the case at the time. Every transitional moment was a major decision, could have been a crisis, and I found a way through it based on, how I wanted to be spending my time and what I was interested in, pursuing those interests. Those were skills and I guess life techniques that I learned at CUNY, at Macaulay, at City College, doing Model UN, doing theater, navigating the CUNY bureaucracy I don't need to tell you guys, those are life skills, you really learn how to work within an organization and how to advocate for yourself, how to advance change for causes that you believe in by having to deal with bureaucracy like CUNY's and elsewhere. So congratulations, you made it through. Another thing that I'll just mention briefly, the value of a free education. To be able to move out into the world without student debt is a game changer. I think I didn't really realize it at the time, but to have the freedom, the flexibility to make choices, take risks, pursue ideas, not have to worry about how you're making that next payment is night and day for the kinds of opportunities that you will be able to pursue in your lives. From Afghanistan, I wound up back in New York, a little bit lost, kind of burnt out and disillusioned with the international aid industry, trying to figure out what to do next. And I decided to give myself a 3-month window to see if I could start a spice company. Now, 10 years later, that seems like it kind of makes sense. You could look back on it and say, okay, this is where we could wind up, but please let me tell you, that was not the case at the time. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no money. I had no experience. I had truly no idea what I was doing. I ran the business out of my 1-bedroom apartment in Jackson Heights, like 800 square feet. I called the FDA. Can I register my apartment with as a warehouse, a spice warehouse? And I was like, yes. I mean, it was all kind of gray area, but I made it happen. I couldn't afford a warehouse. And I wanted to, as I have many times in my life, test out an idea in the easiest and lowest risk possible kind of way. So I turned my apartment into a spice warehouse. We had over a metric ton at the height, over a metric ton of spices in my apartment. You could smell it from the elevator. It's Jackson Heights, so everybody's cool with it, but you could really smell it from the elevator. And I turned my living room into a fulfillment center. We would get orders on the website. People think they're coming from a official place, but it was like me at 2 a.m, packing orders and dropping them off at the local post office. I did that along with my co-founder Ori for over a year. Crazy, just crazy. Why would you do that to yourself? But I did, and eventually we found a company that was willing to pack the spices for us, a company that was willing to do the shipping, order fulfillment for us. And over the last 10 years, we've built the business incrementally. We have no outside investors. We're a social enterprise. We work directly with smallholder farmers in now 30 different countries, mostly producers of very specialty spices, culturally significant, historically significant, really interesting products, many of which have never been exported before. So we build these supply chains with the goal of, I sort of refer to it jokingly as the redistribution of wealth. How do we set up a supply chain where an American who can afford to spend a couple extra dollars, by the way, on an exceptional quality spice, super fresh, very flavorful, how do I send that money directly to a farmer in Guatemala or Tanzania or at the other end of the supply chain? And how do we get people to care a little bit as they're doing it about the people behind those products? So just to underscore, this was always political work for me. This came out of my leftist days in the City College Political Science Department, studying insurgencies and revolutions. This was a way to move money around the world, and in particular, to focus it on places that had been brutalized by the actions of the U.S. and the U.S. government. I'm talking about Guatemala, I'm talking about Afghanistan, I'm talking about Vietnam, I'm talking about Palestine. Those are the supply chains that we've set up, and we do this, this has happened, I'll just emphasize again, happened slowly, happened incrementally, but at this point we do it at a certain scale, at least for our, we're not in my apartment anymore, amazing. We've paid about $6.5 million in total payments over the last 10 years to farmers around the world. That's like 1.5 million pounds of spices that we've imported. We have a long-term partnership with Dr. Jane Goodall herself and the Jane Goodall Foundation. We have a partnership with Martha Stewart, which, to be honest, didn't do very well, but it's fun to say her name on stage. We've really we've found ways to build a business. We were on Shark Tank in 2021. You want to see a funny pitch? It was 2023, rather. Anyway, watch our funny pitch on Shark Tank. Gwyneth Paltrow was our guest shark. Anyway, it's easy, again, to look back at an experience and build a narrative, think about how it has all come together kind of miraculously, but that was not necessarily even the goal at the time. We were just trying to solve the next problem and move forward. So on that note, I'm going to try to give you a few pieces of advice. And the first piece of advice is be an incrementalist. I'm not the first person to say this on this stage today, but progress is more important than achievement. You know that already, but continue working on your day-to-day activism and goals and ideas in an incremental way. There may be big breaks. You may go on Shark Tank. There may be these moments that move things forward quickly, but for the most part, activism is something that happens incrementally. You chip away at it through your daily actions and your daily work and your daily interactions with others. So be an incrementalist is my first piece of advice. And my second piece of advice is be an operator. And what I mean by that is, in my experience, ideas are overrated. At the very least, they're too easy. You can sit around and have a million fun ideas, and that's really great, but the hard part is how to get them done. And I'll say this, you have a way easier access through the technology on your phone to communities and customers that even 10 years ago starting this company, we didn't exist. You could stand up a website tomorrow. I took pictures and had to upload them, and it was hard. I mean, the old days, but it was harder 10 years ago than it is today. And so I really encourage you to take advantage of the ease, the low risk ability that you have to put an idea out into the world, host an event, send an email, build a website, see how an idea resonates by doing, not just by talking about it. So my second piece of advice, be an operator. And my third piece of advice is to accept no conventional wisdom. Let me tell you, I'll tell you very clearly, adults have no idea what they're doing. And I can tell you that from my own personal experience. I have no idea what I'm doing. I still have no idea what I'm doing. But the people that you will meet and interact with in your workplaces, in your day-to-day lives, they have no idea what they're doing. So you, given your age and your experience and your brilliance and your CUNY education, you deserve all of the confidence that anybody else in the world deserves. You know what to do. And even in the moments where somebody older than you or somebody more senior than you in an organization is going to say, this is the way we have to do it, they are probably wrong. You know what to do. So that's my final piece of advice. Accept no conventional wisdom. Find your own path. Trust your own assessment of a situation, and make it happen. And to wrap up, I'll just acknowledge this is a time of immense change. I'm, again, not the first person to say this on this stage. You don't need me to tell you. I find a lot of comfort personally in the long view of history and my work with spices. You know, spices go way back, the spice trade and what that represents. I find a lot of comfort in looking at the long view of history. Things change, and the energy of change is powerful. The momentum that's generated when things are changing, even when it feels like the change is for the worse or has a lot of risk associated with it, the momentum is the hard part. So my encouragement to you with this last little anecdote is to find your place in that momentum. Use the momentum of a world that's already changing to change it in the direction that you see fit, to move it towards the vision that you have for the world. So I have two little toddlers. Zabi is 4 and Ellie is 2. We live in Jackson Heights. And when they get on their scooters, you cannot stop them. They are gone, just gone. And in the early days, when they were first getting on their scooters, I would run after them and try to stop them. Yell, stop, the corner. It's impossible. But it didn't work. They wouldn't stop. They couldn't stop. The wind was in their ears. They were excited. They were moving quickly. They couldn't stop. So what I have learned to do since then is to yell steer instead of stop. They can turn the handlebars. They can turn a corner. They can spin around. Much more easily than they can stop. So that's my final piece of advice for you is steer. Turn the handlebars. Choose the direction that you're going at this moment and at other moments in your life when you're faced with a decision. Imagine me running down 34th Avenue, waving my arms, screaming steer at my toddlers, and you'll figure out what to do. Thank you very much.
Nicely done, nicely done. Thank you so much. All right, thanks to Dr. Zaya and Dr. Frisch. And now please welcome Alina Nodrat from Macaulay's class of 2026.
Hey everyone. Thank you, Provost Meeks. Good afternoon, distinguished faculty, families, friends, and most importantly, Macaulay's graduating class of 2026. Let's all take a quick moment to let this sink in. The thousands of hours of studying, becoming best friends or enemies with Blackboard and Brightspace, running on little sleep, working on club projects and events. Shout out to Macaulay Mind. Morgan, Yasir, I know you guys are graduating today too. And thinking you failed your Calc 1 final only to find out that you passed and immediately deciding that you deserve a sweet treat after. Because if there's one thing college taught us is that there's always time for a sweet treat. But more importantly, it taught us that we could do hard things. All of this is to say, we made it class of 2026, we are here. Standing here today, I keep coming back to one word in my mother tongue of Dari, Hidmat. Hidmat means service, but not in the way that we often might think about it. It's not just checking a box, completing hours, or adding something to your resume. Hidmat is about responsibility. It is a responsibility, a commitment to others. And it's truly a belief that our lives are not just our own, but they are connected to the people and the communities around us. And I think today that says a lot, and that matters a lot. Because Macaulay hasn't just given us degrees, it's given us a toolkit full of critical thinking, curiosity, relationships, experiences, and the confidence to speak louder and show up more fully. That kind of growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of people. So I want to give a huge thank you to our wonderful Macaulay family across our campuses and beyond. Because of their leadership and their care and their guidance, they've created spaces where we can grow. A special shout out to my advisor, Chris. I see you right there. That is my queen. And also Lev, our amazing director at Macaulay. Macaulay Hunter. I often think about something our amazing dean, Dr. B, once told me, that we absolutely could have done all this on our own, we just didn't have to do it alone, and that's the best part. Because of that, I believe that Macaulay has left a piece of itself in all of us, especially in how we think and how we lead. And that growth didn't happen in everyday classrooms, it happened in part in our Macaulay seminars. In Arts in New York City, we learned how culture shapes the way we see the world and how our city was never just a backdrop. It was our living campus full of rich and vibrant history waiting for us to discover it. And through these seminars, Macaulay shaped us into leaders we are today, who listen, question, and step forward even when the path is unclear. For many of us, that sense of purpose didn't start here, but definitely grew. For me, some of my earliest memories about life and public service really came from my family story. My parents fled from Taliban rule in search for safety, education, and freedom, things that were never guaranteed. Growing up, I understood that the ability to speak and learn freely, especially as a woman, was a privilege. And once again, this really stayed with me throughout all of my college career and beyond. Many of our parents fought for these rights, just like mine did, but we've been fortunate enough to grow up in a city where we could take part and change actively. Experiences like these remind us that progress is not distant or abstract. It happens because ordinary people just like us choose to speak up, show up, and care for the communities around them. That's why the work we've done here, the late nights, the conversations, and the moments of growth have led to somewhere real. But the truth is, a toolkit means nothing if you do not use it. We're leaving a place that has supported us and pushed us to be better for a world that will not always be fair or easy. That is where agency comes in. We cannot wait for permission to lead or for someone else to fix what we know is broken. We have to speak up when it's uncomfortable, step in when it's easier to step back, and choose to build something better even when we don't have all of the answers yet. That is what it means to take everything we've done here and turn to something real. And that choice is Hidmat. Not something, once again, that we put on our resumes, but something that we practice every single day. And I want to be clear about something. Hidmat does not mean losing yourself in service to others. It means recognizing your story, your worth, and everything that you have has purpose, and you have to use it with intention. The truth is, the world doesn't need more people who fit the mold. It needs people who reshape it and reinvent it. And this proceeds beyond New York City. Using Hidmat here is also really great, but using it abroad in countries that need it the most. In countries like Sudan, like Haiti, like Afghanistan, Iran, and Palestine. This is where we have to speak up. Before I close, I want to take a moment to acknowledge people that have made this journey possible. To our families, thank you for your sacrifices and your belief in us. To my family, I love you all so much. Everything I do is for you guys. To my friends, or to our friends, I should say, especially the ones that became family, thank you for the constant reminders that we were never doing this alone. To my M15ers, my friends Kyle, Shane, Alessandra, Liv, David, Morgan, all of you guys rock. To my roommates, Ariana and Emily. Emily Lozik's actually graduating in Baruch. I saw her before. Shout out to her too. You guys are all awesome and really have made my experience the most amazing experience ever. So, one last shout out, one last thank you to the King of New York, Jalen Brunson, and the Knicks and 4. Knicks and 4, not 5, 4. So, class of 2026. As we leave here today, I hope we carry this with us. We have the tools, we have the knowledge, and we have the ability. But most importantly, we have the choice. Let's choose Hidmat. Congratulations, class of 2026. I'm immensely proud of all of us, Knicks and 4.
Oh, thank you, Alina. So we're almost there, I swear, we're almost there. So it's now time for the singing of Macaulay's alma mater, Hearken Well, O Macaulay, written by Charles Liu, professor at the College of Staten Island and emeritus director of Macaulay at CSI. The Macaulay triplets will return to the stage to perform the song. The lyrics are on the back of your program. Please rise and feel free to sing along. Please be seated. Thank you, Macaulay triplets. And after today, you, the class of 2026, will join Macaulay's alumni network, now around 8,000 strong. As you exit the stage, and yes, seriously, in a few minutes you're going to be on the stage, members of the classes of 2016 and 2021 and 2008 will present you with a special Macaulay alumni pin. Looks like this. Can you see it from here? To represent your membership in this most distinguished group. These pins contain the Macaulay seal with our motto, Transformatio per Experientiam, which means transformation through experience, and the image of the phoenix rising over our beloved city of New York. This may look like just a simple pin, but it is a badge of honor, a sign of your commitment to Macaulay and our continuing commitment to you. It says that you have completed a rigorous course of study and that wherever you go, the strong foundation you have built in your time at Macaulay will support you and surround you. Wear it with pride. All right, so one last tradition as you walk across the stage, it's Macaulay custom to wave at or to touch the Macaulay mace is the symbol of our degree granting authority. All right, so now for the moment our graduates have been waiting for. I would like to ask Georgia Southern Penn, Macaulay's senior academic advisor from Brooklyn, to come to the podium over there as we begin reading the names. Dean Byrne, Macaulay Honors College inspires and prepares students to take on the grand challenges facing New York City, our nation, and the global community. It is my honor to present these candidates to you to receive the degrees Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Business Administration, Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Science. So Dean Byrne, Foundation Board Chair Ann Lindberg, and the Macaulay family, you can come forward to shake some hands. And we will start by representing Macaulay at Lehman College. I would like to invite Associate Provost Karen Beck, Alice Michelle Augustin, Director for Macaulay at Lehman, Duran Fiek, Academic Director at Macaulay at Lehman, and Lena Tuck, Senior Advisor for Macaulay, to come forward. Please also welcome Madeline Scher, Class of 2016, to hand out pins to our graduates.
Hafsiba Jacob. Makita Voroguze. Iman Taklugder. Perler Calixto. Junji Zhu. Idiana Isaac. Ashler Core Gibbons. Kiara Meza, also known as Kiwi. Lisbeth Peralta Quiros. Zeth Amargo. Jean Luna. Alphonse Sony. Stephanie Bridge-Mohan. Kyla St. Fort.
Let's hear it for Lehman. All right. Representing Macaulay at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I would like to invite Provost Allison Pease, Dr. Raymond Patton, Director of Macaulay at John Jay, and Aisha Abdumullah, Senior Advisor for Macaulay at John Jay, to come forward. And Madeline Scher will again hand out pins.
Nia Clement. Rowan Holder. Melina Velis. Yanira Rivera Ronquillo. Jaylene Pozo. Omotairo Valentina Omotosho. Abigail Paredes Mejia. Kimberly Messiah Pinto. Ariel Isabella Hyatt Sukram. Jada Nicole Kerr. Ileana Thais Garcia Alicea. Kiana Parker. Camden Elizabeth Hart. Samir Gamire. Kelly Malkus. Benjamin Anitsui. Emily Amatrudo. Matthew Wright. Rimsha Tahir. Maria Souza. Maria de los Angeles Rodriguez Larrea. Shakira Rashid.
Thank you, John Jay. Now, representing Macaulay at the College of Staten Island, I'd like to invite Provost Natalia Holtzman, Gary Milligan, Director of Macaulay and the College of Staten Island, Lisa French, Associate Director and Advisor, and Anita Romano. Please also welcome Madeline Scher, who will continue to hand out pins.
Luciano Spagnuolo. Jacob Yuzavitsky. Michael Cassio. Oscar Lesniak. Stamatios Malice. Anthony Manzella. James Crescitelli. Michael Lafort. Sean Bressler. Adam Gutman. Adriana Catanzaro. Alexandra Doyle. Lauren Ferguson. Emma DeMuro. Jax Pedersen. Julia Kalinowski. Tasneem Asnan. Sabrina Musovic. Anthony Prizenzano. Aman Ahmed. Carlos Assad. Alex Sammy Gilarte. Vincent Mirabella. Abdel Mahmoud. Ashley Villalba. Madison Tricardo. Judy Hamden. Aaliyah Jones. Tasneem Hanif.
Thank you, CSI. Now representing Macaulay at City College, I would like to invite Associate Provost Mary Ruth Shushevsky, Susanna Urich, Associate Director of Macaulay at City College, William Young, Irina Stoyanova, and James Clark, Senior Advisors. Please also welcome Dr. Ethan Frisch to hand out pins to the graduates. We put him to work immediately.
Navdeep Badhan. Anjana Prasad. Tasnia Oishi. Uzman Farouk. Dia Zadia. Ada Liu. Donna Watamena. Michelle Sosa. Shannon R. Shabnam Parand. Christian Christian Velez. Mia Reese Bravo. Lily Minchala. Samuel Simon. Seher Abrar. Sanvi Goyal. Sazida Kabir. Sam Berkowitz. Kayla Bellin. Maria Karan. Allison Host. Anna Vicatos. Yasmin Muthana. Shreya Cannon. Rachel Yaffe. Sophia Islam. Karina Moncada. Viviana Altore. John Paul Cadillo. Fernando Velasquez. Jolie Huang. Selma Rana Doanata. Noor Darussos. Christian Clarence Rasmussen. Sakura Smith. Alana Corniel. Alina Hadzovic. Kai Portalatin. Syed Azweem Salim. Tyler Tanvir. Anthony Mathai. Gaurav Gupta. Zoha Khan. Fatima Chowdhury. Sujana Yasmin. Daniel Berlinski. Anastasia Perba. Lucas Kletkopko. Christine Ann Matilla. Catherine Giosa. Hannah Min. And Mujana Collin.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah. Thank you, City College. And thank you, Georgia Southern Penn, for such wonderful reading of the names. I would now like to ask Lisa French, Administrative Director from Macaulay CSI, to take over that duty. Now representing Macaulay at Brooklyn College, I'd like to invite Dean Philip Napoli, Lisa Schwabel, Director of Macaulay at Brooklyn College, and Senior Macaulay Advisors Jamie Weiss, Sandy Alexander, and Georgia Southern Penn. Also, please welcome Preeti Prasannan, class of 2021, to hand out pins.
Tennille Gooden. Yasir Azam. Zoe Davis. Jada Dent. Shania Clark. Magali Ramos. Vanessa Cruz. Jenna Kwong. Vinga Kang. Isabella Calderon. Mary McTarsney. Ricky Cortez Hernandez. Bianca Costanzo. Malia Azam. Jordi Garcia Alvarez. Ashley Dumerville. Nathanians Esterville. Cheyenne Sati. Rayan Sati. Jabril Ahmed. Robert Safioti. Paige Treeland. Benjamin Vela. Warren Merberg. Raisa Jareen. Priscilla Ramchen. Reshma Lukosi. Belinda Hu. Jonathan Mishvelovitz. Chaim Ilowitz. Eric Spira. Tony Liang. Linda Abramson. Kai Williams. Angelina Labrosi. Matthew O'Connor. Neve Zange. And Lena Youssef.
Congratulations, Brooklyn College. Now representing Macaulay at Baruch College, I would like to invite Provost Linda Essig, Veronica Maldonado, Director, Allison Hahn, Associate Professor and Faculty Director, Baruch Wintergreen Allen, Troy Heffron, Benjamin Ross, Ksenia Kosmina, Andy Pena, all senior advisors. There's so many, they have to stretch across the stage.
Joey Wu. Sharina Bello. Kimberly Chin. Neya Machamade. Mahabumatisha. Salima Akhtar. Nujat Ahmed. Najee McDowell. Tajay Palmer. Regina Martinez. Sophia Revich. Francesca Vigilante. Amy Feng Zhang. Miranda Das. Charisse Chen. Nafisa Taranum. Connie Tai. Lei Wang. Maggie Shi. Nicole Zoe. Shruti Manish. Ukshaya Swaminathan. Daniel Mushianka. Ada Liang. Habiba Farid. Itzel Garcia. Lydia May. Cindy Chinin. Andrea Quiones. Jennifer Mui Fernandez. Samia Uden. Aisha Vela. Avatel Shakarov. Simran Hassan. Lang Yang O. Alexa Spinella. Alina Josephine Hernandez. Addison Kaya Garcia. Solana Rosenberg. Ivy Liu. Melissa Leong. Dia Pelagiani. Tristan Bacheren. Noah Phillips. Emily Lozick. Sheila Bakhtari. Sophia Kushtoff. Melody Liu. Sherilyn Koo. Ushish Sharmu. Ayush Gija. Sorry. Laura Ocampo Basmante. Ajita Starkai. Jennifer Haki. Mary Mong. Diana Polymars. Andrew Cantor. Ian Saraceni. Sherry Leung. Adelisa Muzish. Lizzie Tobivatse. Kara Lee. Roma Garcia Paz. John Simon. Krishna Yogeshwar. Luigi DeAngelis. Arthur Terahoff. That's good. Anthony Gadgie. Loren Benjamin.
Congratulations, Baruch. And thank you, Lisa French, for reading names. And I would now like to ask Benjamin Ross, Senior Academic Advisor, to read some names for us. And now representing Macaulay at Queens College. I would like to invite Associate Provost Ahmed Sims, Taruna Sadhu, Director of Macaulay, Navdeep Han, Senior Advisor Macaulay at Queens College, and Verinia Granum, Senior Advisor, to come to the front. And Kay Kelly, Class of 2021, to hand out pins to our graduates.
Monica Perez. Kira Waters. Ziv Nachshon. David Davidov. Andrew Kokolakis. Samuel Sokol. Zoe Rabinowitz. Elena Noto. Marilyn Zia. Elena Leung. Sydney Rodriguez. Sasha Hiralal. Anna Simon. Hannah John. Kayla Harris. Michaela Chu. Nicole Castillo. Catherine Choi. Grace Dawn Chun. Tiffany Cruz. Manha Bubul. Vanessa Yamas. Rashana Narain. Maddie Lorenzo Lai. Queena Yu. Christian Flores. Manuel Quinones. Ferdinando Tepalzingo Lopez. Maisha Neharin. Emma Lopez. Shreya Joshi. Harmony Chunilal. Sophia Lee. Imani Wins. Farshiana Tariq. Allison Kim.
Congratulations, Queens College graduates. Now, representing Macaulay at Hunter College, I would like to invite Lev Sviridov, director for Macaulay at Hunter, Vasily Arkanov, Christina Gleicher, Joanna Donato, and William Burgos, senior advisors for Macaulay at Hunter. Please also welcome Kay Kelly, class of 2021, to hand out pins.
Wait till they get situated. All right, here we go. Samantha Jones. Elizabeth Louie. Celine Glennon. Ioanna Sovopoulos. Selena Zhang. Elda Nassimi. Emilia Pelagano Titmus. Bahar Sakar. Annabelle Savaris. Gwendolyn Posner. Kyle Gutierrez. Kira Lai. Ariana Black. Diana Katanov. Anita Artemoshina. Daniel Noodleman. Daniel Tureen. Daniel Rabinovich. Benjamin Botnick. Kylie Nyla Richardson. Nicole Subur. Audrey Schnecker. Vijalis Sole Rodriguez. Jimmy Casamajer Thaluzma. Janae McFarlane. Evelyn Roizen. Sophia Zion. Asha Suganthan. Janet Puma. Alishba Shabazz. Rimsha Khalid. Ashab Kamal. BJ Tapulia. Monil Patel. Rayan Buyan. Sitora Bonu Hakim Janova. Haley Guys. Anaya Williams. Grace Tapia. Tamia Aiken. Amar Dunjal. Danilo Glum. Leo Glassman. Lola Berger. Bridget Lee. Suseli Valdez. Sarah Joyce Koch. Jasmine Edilati. Yasmina Rashidova. Anisa Sidikova. Victoria Dynak. Alexandra Garros. Emily Chu. Nitya Patel. Driti Mamtora. Samantha Leon. Julianne Aguilar. Patrick Lynn. Nicholas Chung. Patrick Ging. Eric Guan. Daniel Suknanen. Morgan Dreer. Lily Madison. Shane McGlone. Jinglin Peng. Isaac Tangni. Malia Tasnim. Somaya Mati. Humaira Nabila. Sadia Islam. Maria Carranza. Tasnia Jahan. Allison Deos. Ayayo Orwa. Alessandra Olivieri. Olivia Leone. Isabel Arce. Mia Chang. Arsen Tumanian. David Horn. Alina Nodrat.
Congratulations, Hunter College graduates. And congratulations to all 2026 Macaulay graduates. Once again, Dean Byrne.
So I do the part that makes it official. So if you run out the door now, you haven't actually graduated. But before we get to that, there's one last tradition for the late afternoon, early evening. Class of 2026, please say thank you to the Macaulay graduates sitting to your left and to your right, behind you and in front of you. This is your Macaulay community, the classmates and friends and roommates who have been such a big part of your life for the last 4 years and who are now your fellow alum. And class of 2026, please rise if you are able to, turn around and face your family and friends. And please lead us in a warm round of applause. For your grandparents, your mothers and fathers, your siblings, spouses, children, and caretakers, and anyone who helped you any step of the way. You couldn't have done it without them. All right. So here's the official part. You've been waiting 2.5 hours for this official part. By the authority that the regents of the state of New York and the CUNY Board of Trustees have committed to me, I confer your degrees upon you with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. You may now move your tassels to the left. Now, honored guests, friends and families, I know you are just waiting to get in front of your young people to take even more pictures, but we ask that you please keep the aisles clear until the platform party and the graduates have been able to exit the auditorium. They will all meet you in the lobby or outside. Academic Marshal Dr. Logan McBride, please lead the platform party off the stage. Congratulations, class of 2026, and good afternoon.